Hyperledger is open source community working on to build an open source enterprise-based blockchain frameworks, platforms, and libraries.
Okay, so is Hyperledger an open source community like Apache?
Yes, Hyperledger project is hosted by the Linux Foundation and supported by the global giant like IBM, CISco, Accenture, etc.
Did the Hyperledger group develop a framework for the blockchain?
Yes, Hyperledger group has developed frameworks like Hyperledger Fabric, Sawtooth, Iroha, Burrow, and Indy. Group has also developed tools like Cello, Composer, and Explorer.
What is Hyperledger Fabric?
Hyperledger Fabric is first industry-grade framework for blockchain. This uses PFBT practical Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm and POET proof of elapsed time method to reach consensus among peers privately.
Seems interesting. Can you explain a little bit more about Fabric?
Any private blockchain should have the following characteristics: consensus checks and balances for valid transaction. Provenance source of asset should be known. Immutability no tampering. And finality a single shared ledger. Fabric framework provides permissioned network access to right group. Confidential transaction make transaction visible to only known person and programmable using smart contract in Go programming language.
Then what is the difference between public permissionless blockchains like Bitcoin versus permissioned enterprise blockchains like Fabric framework?
Cryptocurrency is not required for Hyperledger Fabric framework while Bitcoin is cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is on public network while Hyperledger Fabric uses permissioned networks, that means only granted peers can see transactions. Bitcoin transactions are anonymous while Fabric will be public or confidential based on the nature of the transaction. Bitcoin doesn't have business logic while Fabric provides smart contract, also known as chain code written in Go programming language. Bitcoin was developed in C++ while Fabric is written in Go and Java. Consensus achieved in Bitcoin using proof of work while Hyperledger Fabric doesn't require proof of work and it uses PBFT method to achieve consensus.
Created using Powtoon.